can hear it calling, calling to our hearts. Something loud and clear, begging us to run. We don't need no home, we don't need no room, just the ocean's roar and the wind will do. So let's get out of here, let us see what's there. Yeah, let's get out of here. Light another fire, let us sing till the sun comes up, till the sun comes up. Water's feeling warm, so let us swim till the sun comes up, till the sun comes up, till the sun. We can feel it burning, burning in our hearts. Something fierce and strong, begging us to run. We don't need no home, we don't need no room, just the ocean's roar and the wind will do. So let's get out of here, let us see what's there. Let's get out of here. Light another fire, let us sing till the sun comes up, till the sun comes up. Water's feeling warm, so let us swim till the sun comes up, till the sun comes up. There's no stopping us till the sun comes up, till the sun comes up. We'll remember who we are when the sun comes up, when the sun comes up, when the sun comes up. Here she comes, here she comes. Here she comes, oh here she comes. Here she comes, oh here she comes. Here she comes. Light another fire, let us sing till the sun comes up, till the sun comes up. Water's feeling warm, so let us swim till the sun comes up, till the sun comes up. There's no stopping us till the sun comes up, till the sun comes up. We'll remember who we are when the sun comes up, when the sun comes up, when the sun comes up.
Hello, good morning, beautiful people.
Good morning, Monday morning.
Psychedelic Monday.
Look at it, we're trying something different today.
I think it's going to be great. This show is all about getting you involved. We do believe in plant medicine 100%, don't we?
We do, 1,000%.
1,000, and we're just out here, we have a lot of good platforms out here for what we do. We have the plant medicine path, we have medicine with the meadows, we have some really great affiliates out there.
Mama Dose.
And, plant medicine and psychedelics are really coming to fruition in this Western world now. And, we're here to navigate this path with you, so if you want to jump on our conversations, just do whatever you want to do. Hop on, these are all live. This is all for you guys.
That's right, we're going to be doing this once a week on Mondays. We're trying out different times right now, but we'll let you know what the final one is. And we're going to come on here for half an hour once a week and talk to you guys. Bring people on. If you've got questions about psychedelics, if you want to get to know Mark and I better, if you've got something you want to promote and you want to talk about it, if you've got questions, this is the time.
I got questions. Let's talk a little bit about regulations this morning.
This hit us hard today.
It hit us hard a lot in the last couple years when we've been doing this. And regulations are really tough in this terrain. I don't even think they understand what we're doing here. I don't think they understand these benefits. I think they do understand these benefits, but they don't know how to navigate them. So,
Meaning the government and
Yeah.
the powers that be.
yeah, the people that put all these enforcements in effect, how can you actually, say something's bad for you when it's given it to us by nature?
Grows out of the ground, right?
Grows
I
out
mean,
of
we
the-
had the same problem with cannabis.
We did.
I was too young to go through all of those fights, but they were done and they were made, and now cannabis is in most states legal, medically and or recreationally. And now we're on the same push for psychedelics.
Yeah, psychedelics and plant medicines in general. Like we see everything coming out here. We see these groundworks for a lot of these medicines, like MDMA and ketamine, and I think these are the Trojan horse, I guess, for these medicines right now.
Absolutely. I mean,
And-
MDMA will be next. I believe ketamine was 1st, then MDMA, and these are sort of welcoming people in, sort of introducing, and then I think psilocybin will be next.
Well, they're chemicals though too, and they're already in that funnel of approvals. So they know how to manage and regulate that a little
But
bit
in the
better.
meantime, we face battles daily. So one of our affiliates is Mama Dose, and trying to provide psychedelic healing through psilocybin, through both microdosing of psilocybin and macrodosing. This has been used for thousands of years by the
Thousands.
indigenous for all the benefits, physical, mental health, spiritual. And our government decided, back in 1960,
Maybe a little bit before that, but it was definitely right around that era.
that this was going to be illegal. This was going to be considered a Scheduled 1 along with the other psychedelics, LSD, ayahuasca, all of them.
All of them. I think that comes from the ground, basically.
And why did they do that?
I don't know. I don't think there's a way they don't know how to regulate it. They don't understand it. I think they feel that, I think they do know what these medicines do, and I think they know they expand our consciousness and they help us evolve and create, but I don't think they want that for us. So they kind of have to
Well, of
regulate
course they
it.
don't want that for us, right? Because what would that mean if we were all healing in a natural way?
This is
Absolutely.
all for you guys. And today we're going to dive into a little bit about regulations and different sorts of medicines and where we're at in today's society. Wow, that
Did
was
you hear
really
that?
loud. Yeah, that was the other guy behind me.
I think it was. It was a little bug. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, we're having some fun audio issues over here. 1 second.
We're still live, right?
Go live. This is
we're
the
still-
fun part about the whole live experience. Okay, let's check that, Shayna.
'70s, right? When the commercials would come out about your brain on drugs and whatnot. And then we had our dare in school. We're '80s kids, right? And then say no. And it was and that included all the psychedelics that were then scheduled one.
Yeah.
And the war began, and this is the way I hear some people describe it, that the psychedelic baton was put down, and then 5 years ago it was picked back up.
Yeah, big bad. Yeah, I think about 5 years ago. I think right before COVID, and I think COVID really helped the awareness of, getting out of your consciousness, because I think that's where we're all stuck. We're all stuck in this kind of, what do you want to say? It's kind of a brainwashed mentality, or we're programmed.
Very programmed. Programmed to believe that these are drugs, programmed to believe that these will harm you, or that these are used to make people go crazy and whatnot. When the truth is, these medicines are used, and we do call them medicines, these medicines are used to heal physical, psychological, mental health, spiritual, all kinds of maladies.
And that's what we're here for. We're here to spread this awareness. We're here to educate, inform, and educate on these beautiful medicines.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
It's
regulations.
Let's talk about regulations. So one of our affiliates is Mamados. Mamados is all things microdosing and macrodosing, psilocybin. And, I mean, the battles that we come up against on a daily basis against the man to provide this medicine are big.
Are big. And a medicine that's actually grown from the ground has been here for probably millions of eons. The great connector, psilocybin, the mushroom, but just not even psilocybin, the mushroom itself in the functional mushroom in all shapes or ways. What an amazing medicine.
Right, and people are afraid. People are afraid both legally and also just afraid because the unknown is scary. But people are afraid legally because it's illegal in most places.
But I have to tell you, I think that fear really dissipates when you're educated and informed, and then you trust yourself. And then once you trust yourself and you dive into these medicines a little bit more and more, you see the big lie they've been telling us.
Because it is a big lie.
Oh, a big fucking lie.
So it's all about the education. It's all about educating yourself, understanding, and really opening up to know that you've been lied to.
So, if anybody wants to jump in there today and say what their opinion is on this, that would be great,
If anybody's out there wants to talk about it, we'd love to talk about it. Let's talk a little bit about what else happened this week, because I think it's important, right? So our payment processor continues to shut us down. Payment processor, I know everybody understands this, but Visa and MasterCard don't like mushrooms. They don't like people that sell mushrooms, the legal ones or the illegal ones. And they shut us down all the time.
Well, it was also the cannabis industry, too. I think even in the cannabis industry now, it's really hard to run any payment processors. I don't think you can. I think everything is a debit and credit. So, I mean, what they're doing is they're really restricting and they're really controlling a much needed for our society, for our health, for our mental health, you know?
Yeah, it's true. Here's what I find really interesting. You can go into any health food store. You can order online, let's say dandelion or St. John's wort, perfectly legal, right? And you take them in small amounts. Let's call them microdoses. Same thing as psilocybin, you take a microdose. If you took a lot of St. John's wort or a lot of dandelion, you would get high,
Yeah, man.
right? So why is it not the same thing with psilocybin?
Because psilocybin and these medicines open up your consciousness, and I think they really know this, and it really puts them in a category where they don't want us to know who we are, and they don't want us to evolve into this to us.
They also don't want us to heal naturally, because if we take something from the
Big
earth
corporate.
to heal our maladies, who's going to suffer?
Yeah, because Big Pharma's really done an injustice, because they kind of make a one size fits all kind of medicine for everybody. And what we know and what we have learned through this process and through this path, there is not a one size fits all, especially when it comes to mental health. I mean, most of these antidepressants and whatnot you're taking nowadays are just a cover up, a mask for all your really true traumas, and psychedelics really can help navigate
Open
that.
those up.
Absolutely.
You go toward those traumas instead of trying to conceal them with pharmaceuticals.
So regulations in that way have really helped them, because they have controlled their market. So when did just the world people, everybody in general, be able to stand up for our own self and say, hey, we want to heal like we want to heal? Who are these people that tell us? You know, there's a small majority of these people too, when it comes down to the end of the day.
The stigma runs so deep. Let's talk about, so we had Vanessa Kreitz on a couple of weeks ago. Vanessa has been in long-term sobriety, 18 years. She's in her 19th year, I believe.
Yep.
She is just an incredible person, and she takes her sobriety very seriously. And she decided to delve into plant medicine. Psilocybin was the first one, I think 6 years ago, if I'm correct. And she was very nervous about doing this, and went to her sponsor in AA and asked if she did this, would she have to change her sobriety date? So and we won't go into the whole thing, but it's quite an incredible conversation that we had with her. And the point of it was, no, it does not. And people think that using these medicines to heal themselves is not being sober anymore. Let's talk about Bill Wilson, who his whole psychedelic spiritual awakening was on psychedelics. It was the belladonna.
I think they tell us that we can't heal. You know, we have to portray ourselves as labels. We're an alcoholic, or we're a drug addict, or we have ADHD, or we are this, or we are that. So they put a label on us, and then they can control us by selling us these medications through these corporations, and there's no healing process through that. You know, I mean, the healing process really comes through you, and you can't find that through a chemical. I mean, we're all kind of plants in the form of a DNA, and we truly, you know, let's talk, you know, I just got a little
Okay, let's do it.
sidelined there, but you know,
Let's go in.
coming into this psychedelic space, when I first did, I was terrified of these myths, you know, but once I saw something, you know, and I noticed really drastic changes really immediately, I said, there's something about these medicines, you know, but it took me the trust to trust these medicines, you know, because these medicines will show you some really interesting, deep perspectives of yourself.
But do you think at the end of the day, it's really you're learning to trust yourself?
I think that's what we all are, because I think all these traumas and how we break down become from us not trusting ourselves. That's why we reach out to society. That's why we reach out and we think like this is going to make us happy, or this is going to make us happy, or that. I mean, this is what the world has done to us. They've created an illusion of a material asset is going to internally make us happy. So we've been programmed for this for so long and so long and so many years that, we just passed it on to lineage to lineage to lineage, and that's how it is. When it should be the opposite.
It's funny.
Inside.
I was going to mention the drugs are kind of like social media in a way, right? Like where it can be good to get a message out, but it also can be harmful if you used the wrong way.
Of course.
Absolutely.
With anything. I mean, let's use alcohol as a prime example. I watched the Super Bowl, and everything I watched about that game yesterday was about a fucked up society, an alcohol-induced society.
Yep.
And why?
Let's really talk about that, though.
Sure.
Because here we're demonizing, as a society, as a culture, our law enforcement, our media, whoever it is, demonizing, let's say, psilocybin or ayahuasca or one of these other plant medicines.
Right.
Yet alcohol is everything.
Glorifying.
Everywhere we go, alcohol is everything.
Everywhere.
Why is that okay, right? Alcohol is a drug.
It's just a good
worst.
The
business.
worst drug.
It's a business. You're exactly right. And you know what? The government found a way to really regulate that, because it would have been really hard to have everybody have a distillery in the backyard. So they really jumped on that bagel really quick, and they figured it out. It's really hard to figure plants out. They can't, how do we manage this? They grow everywhere.
Yeah, a lot of the people that I've heard from about alcohol is you kind of know what you're getting into once you drink it. Once you have like a glass, but like for marijuana, psilocybin, any other kind of drug, there's no basic instructions, but they really dumb down the alcohol and what it is to take a drink. People know exactly what's going to happen once they do that.
Look at society, Brian. Brian, how we go to a party, or we go to any establishment, or we go anywhere. You know who the most uncomfortable people are? It's the people that aren't drinking. You have to encompass yourself with all those drinkers to get out of reality. So all you're doing is taking yourself out of reality.
Mm-hmm. And like I'm not sure who's commenting on Facebook, but yeah, literally alcohol is everywhere. You can't avoid it. Even I was visiting my kids up north in Vancouver. They're a hard alcohol not dry, but they actually have alcohol places where you are specifically, you go to get hard alcohol, but there's beer everywhere.
Yeah.
Beer's everywhere, but the hard alcohol is kind of limited. It's not that way down here in the Southern California area.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Everywhere.
And it's perfectly acceptable.
Perfectly
I haven't
acceptable.
had a drink in 20 years. I think alcohol is just poison. I was in a 12-step program for many, many, many years before I came to plant medicines. And alcohol is called a spirit because it is a spirit,
Right.
but it's a very dark spirit. It is a very dark and depressive spirit. And it's just darkness. And when you drink it, it's darkness.
Yeah. And we drink it to get comfortable with ourselves. So yeah.
Liquid courage, that's what we used to
Liquid
call it.
courage, it's something to really think about there. I think society's really aware of it. People know how, alcohol is the gateway drug, for sure. There's nothing else. They say cannabis is this and that. Alcohol is your gateway.
Yeah, I believe that.
Absolutely. Alcohol is definitely the gateway. It's perfectly okay to say, I've had a really stressful day. First thing I'm going to do when I get home is have a glass of wine. That's what everybody says, right? I need a drink. But it's not okay to wake up in the morning and take a microdose of psilocybin, and therefore your whole day has been redirected. You're likely
in a
not going
positive
to
way.
drink in the most positive
And
way.
you're not any way out of it. You're not drunk.
You're not impaired.
Impaired, that's the word I can't think this morning.
There's no impairment at all.
No impairment.
It's interesting.
Unless you want to.
Unless you want it to be, right.
There's so many, this is the education about the part of these medicines.
And then the drinking and driving, and oh my gosh, the people
Yeah.
killed and
All the time.
injured
All the time.
from
alcohol poisoning.
all that.
Not one single person in the whole history of the world has ever died from psilocybin
Or cannabis.
or cannabis? Directly. I'm talking about directly. I don't know about cannabis, but I do know psilocybin. I mean, direct. Now, there are things that have happened while in a journey that maybe, but
Interesting topics we talk about here. You know, it's pretty sad what they're allowing and what they're teaching or programming us. And we try to build a community that's programmed. I don't even want to call it program because we shouldn't be programmed. We should be able to live life while we were.
this is why we started this. This is definitely why we have Medicine with the Metals. Mark and I are out there every single day on every one of our platforms trying to break the stigma, bring awareness, bring education, because it is education. It's education. It's just pure ignorance, people that don't understand what these medicines are. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean bad. It's just ignorant, right?
No, because I don't think it's untaught ignorance.
Sure.
For sure, because we're doing this. There's other people out there doing this. I think we navigate this in a little bit of a different way. I think we really are into the whole holistical nature of these medicines. If it grows here, it's good. If it's manufactured there, I would kind of second guess that.
Well, okay, let's discuss that for a minute, because I feel the same way. I try not to put any type of pharmaceuticals into my body ever, if can be. There's a time and a place.
Of
But
course.
I try not to. But some of these medicines are made, like MDMA and ketamine. These are clearly pharmaceuticals, but I consider them under the same realm as plant medicines because of the healing potentials of them.
Well, I'll talk about MDMA a little
Let's
bit.
talk about
I had an
MDMA.
experience a couple weeks ago that, and I'm not a big fan of chemical medicines, but once in a year I don't mind indulging in a MDMA experience because I think
It's very healing. And let's
very
put
much.
it out
For
there first
couples.
that MDMA is an incredible medicine.
Incredible.
It's going to be legal in 2024. It's going to be
Oh,
along
for sure.
the same lines as ketamine. So you're going to go for MDMA therapy, and it can
But
be
the
life
after effects
changing.
are very brutal. It's unlike if you do a psilocybin journey or an ayahuasca journey. You don't have the chemical feeling afterwards, that total drain from your system. You're working with chemicals of something that was given to her from the world, the plant, the earth.
Right, and those chemicals work on the receptors in your brain and the serotonin levels, and after you do the MDMA, your serotonin levels drop way, 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 way down. And if you
Fine.
take too much MDMA, you go into the serotonin syndrome,
Yeah.
and
Not
that
good.
is not a good place to be.
Yeah. Lasts a while too.
Well, what does it feel like?
It's really draining, It's just really hard on your body. Especially how it throws off your my gut health. It really threw off my gut health a lot. I think that's where a lot of our chemistry comes from anyways. So, talking about the Western world and how we trust their medicines and what they do. I don't think the Western world was really established to deal with our mental health because everybody's so different. I mean, our physical health, heart attack, broken bones, I think that's what our structure's meant for. But when it comes to mental health, it's not a one pill size fits all kind of.
Well, it's definitely not.
I mean,
Because
how long have
everybody
you
shows
been?
up-
How long have we been
Oops.
doing that? Sorry.
No,
How long
no.
have we been messing with our minds with the pharmaceuticals? Like not even a century.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Not even a century.
And then here's the thing with the pharmaceuticals is they give you this one, and then there's all these effects, these side effects. So they're going to give you this to counteract that
Right.
effect, and then that effect, and then by the end of the day, you're on 17, okay, not 17, maybe 7 different medications. Let's talk about a friend of mine that came to visit a couple of weeks ago, and I won't use her name because I didn't ask her permission, but she has been on pharmaceuticals for 30 years.
30 years.
Almost her whole adult life. She's been on one type of antidepressant, anti-anxiety. Is on, it's just a constant. You can't go to many of these plant medicines if you're on pharmaceuticals. And so she started the titrating off of medications. It's been about 1.5 years since she started. She's still on, I should put it differently. She's only on now 3 medications.
Yeah.
But they are some of the worst, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about this one, Seroquel,
Seroquel.
Oh, and
which is one of the worst medications. It's
when you
poison.
when you talk about Seroquel, can you also explain why it's bad or not a good idea to try psychedelics with pharmas while taking antidepressants?
Yeah, of course.
Sure, we can talk about that.
Seroquel, sorry.
Well, I think any of those SSRIs, they're working on the same receptors, So psilocybin, it's going to block anything it's not going to give you that full effect, So all these SSRIs are doing are blocking your neural pathways when all the psilocybin
It's trying to get through.
is trying to get through. Psilocybin works in different pathways than ayahuasca and some of these other medicines. Psilocybin totally works on your neural pathways. Ayahuasca works a lot internal, also on your neurals. But psilocybin is one of the that really wants to navigate that mental part of your brain.
But a medication like Seroquel, it is such a strong medicine. It's actually an antipsychotic med that is used for sleep.
Yeah, it's a sleep medication.
Let's think about that. An antipsychotic medicine that people are given for sleep. And my friend was given to it and was never told what it actually was. And I know that it's up to us to educate ourselves and figure things out, but you think that your doctor's going to tell you that. She had no idea she was taking an anti-psych med, had no idea how difficult it was going to come off of it, and didn't know. That doesn't seem right to me.
It's kind of interesting how we trusted doctors for so long because they were, like Jonas Salk. He was he was a master in polio, I believe. Right? Was polio? I forgot. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been in high school. But all these doctors, there was no kind of pushback at all because there was no universal. We were just being kind of told and not discovering.
Exactly. And something like polio, or when I don't know what I'm trying to say here. That thought will come back to me.
That's okay.
Sorry, I took that in a weird direction.
No.
I forgot what I was going to say too.
I want to make it really clear that I'm a believer of Western medicines.
Of course.
My brother is a doctor. My cousin's husband is a doctor. I mean, I believe in doctors. I'm glad there's a hospital down the street. If I break my leg or have a heart attack, of course I believe in these. What I don't believe in is that some of these SSRIs, anti-anxiety, all these medicines are not supposed to be used for life.
There you go. Yeah.
It's for a short period of time.
Yeah.
There's times when they're needed. I believe in that, but it's not supposed to be a lifelong for most people. There are some people that have some I hate the word conditions, but have some things that they do require medication for the rest of their life.
But in the long run,
pretty
those
rare.
medicines are never getting you well. They're keeping you sick because they're doing nothing to heal.
The doctors really don't, they don't prescribe therapy.
Well, let's talk about doctors for a little bit. I'm up there in age, but I remember going to the doctor when I was in my 20s, 30s, and he would talk to you. He would sit there with them. He would have 10, 15 minutes. Now, you go to a doctor, he's in the room,
that's a
boom,
good
boom,
point.
boom, 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 boom. You're out in 3 minutes, the next one, the next, the next,
You're
the
just
next.
a number. How much
There's
do you weigh? What
How
is this?
could your doctor know anything about you when he spends 2 minutes with you?
I think the doctors are also kind of trapped in a way by the insurance companies. I think it's kind of, it trickles down, and I think the doctors are maybe they're not in a position to be able to push back.
We had, what was her name, who was on a couple of weeks ago from Colorado. Do you remember her name, Brian or Shayna? Dana
Oh,
Lerman.
Dana Lerman.
She is a physician from Colorado. She was on the front lines during COVID, internal medicine, doctor of internal medicine, I believe, worked at the ER and was on the front lines during COVID. Was so traumatized during COVID that she went and had a plant medicine experience herself to get over her own trauma of dealing with COVID. During her journey, that first journey, it was such a profound experience, and she had so many revelations about her place in the world as a doctor that she's no longer serving Western medicine, that she is now has a ketamine clinic. She's going to be helping with MDMA, and she's such a believer in the benefits of these medicines.
And following up with that, when most nurses and people in the medical field now that come to us looking for resolutions, what's their first thing they say to us? I know. We've lost all faith in our Western medicine culture. We've lost all faith. That's every one of them say that to us. So if they're losing faith, how are we supposed to have faith?
30%. 30%, you guys, of our Mama Dose clients are first responders.
Mm-hmm.
So either law enforcement, doctors, nurses,
Could be a little higher.
paramedics, firefighters, vets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking for a way. You know,
I can't imagine that job.
I couldn't either. You know,
I couldn't
that's
either.
trauma after trauma every day. You know, in this society, our society's sick, Brian. Brian, our society's sick, broken. Like, this isn't the way we're supposed to be living. I mean,
If
This is
anything,
kinda
it's, yeah, it's yeah. That's all I got.
wake-
It's-
Yeah.
but we
'cause-
wake up every morning and everything is fight or flight. I mean, it's like there's nothing you can.
Well, here's how we're
And
programmed.
I
it's
live in the
a
moments.
it's a
Here's
low
how we're
low
programmed our whole life.
it's a low flying panic attack.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Every day.
Well, we're this is how we're programmed, right? That we're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to go to school, and then go to college, and then get a job, and then get married, and then have the job, have the family, work for the next 40 years, 5 days a week, take that one vacation once a year, retire at 65, 70, and then have the next 15 years to do what you want, and then you die.
And then you live on
This is not the
pharmaceutical
way we're
drugs.
supposed to live.
Then you live on pharmaceutical drugs. Fucking crazy.
This is not the way we are supposed to live.
How did we do it before?
You know,
What's that shit?
We just died earlier.
Oh, that's right.
Sooner.
Yeah, we did.
I don't know if
Are we
died
supposed to live
earlier.
this long?
I don't know if we're. Who knows anything? You know.
Are we supposed to live till we're
We just know what
90?
we're told. You know, we just.
My grandmother is 94. We just went to go visit her over Christmas. Omi, I love you if you're watching.
She
She's
microdoses.
94 and she lives by herself. She takes classes at school. She's got all her friends. She goes out to eat. She had a Super Bowl party yesterday. So I don't know.
I don't know. It's all relative.
The women in my family live a long time.
We are actually waking up. I think society is really, really waking up. I think we're as numb as we were. I think COVID really snapped us into.
COVID woke a lot of us up.
COVID actually said, like, what
Wake
did it
the
do?
fuck up.
Wake the fuck up.
Yeah.
You know, because 4 years ago, I wouldn't be talking like this. I knew nothing about this. You know, it was just after these first couple of experiences, seeing outside of not a realm of just a different way that people see things. You know, because I talk about this programming a lot because it's truth. We are fucking programmed. There's no way, shape, or form around it. We don't think for ourselves. And once you break those chains free and you see, you can't unsee.
I always see you having this conversation, let's say like with your dad, right?
Yeah.
And you'll say, well, why is that? And he said, well, because that's the way it is. And you
Yeah.
say, but who told you that?
Yeah,
Who said that?
yeah.
Somebody
Like the-
told you
yeah.
that.
Like the other day, I couldn't even get him to understand. Like he's like, well, Trump's gonna save us. He's gonna, what?
Who's that, Trump? Trump's going to save us?
You know, it's everybody wants somebody else to say.
Save them.
Yeah.
Save them. And you know,
gotta save
at the end of the
yourself.
day, we have to save ourselves. That's it. And when we do that, we save Michelle. We save our kids. We save a lot.
When I heal, those around me heal. When I heal, those around me heal.
It's like we forgot the procedures on a plane. You got to put the oxygen mask on first before you help others.
Well, when you're brought into an education system at a young age that teaches, listen, when we were in school, Brian, we had woodworking, electronics, we had all
Shop
kinds
class.
of fun things to learn. What the fuck do you learn now? If you can have a penis in place of a vagina? I mean, the world has come to illusion
Michelle's
What?
confused.
of a disillusion. It's just a
I
really
don't know where that came from.
weird spot we're in. And we can continue to go down this pathway, or we can wake up. And I choose to
People
wake
are
up.
always looking outside of themselves for answers. I'm looking for these answers. I'm looking for this. I'm looking to get happy from this. I'm looking for the answer. I'm going to be happy once I get that job, once I get caught up on my bills, once this, once that.
Once you get that car, you know.
Once I get that car, once I get that promotion, once I have a baby, once my kids are grown. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. The answers are all within inside of us, all of them. And that's what these medicines show us.
Yep.
I think the
The
medicines.
answers are inside.
That's true. I think we're also too distracted. You know, I think these medicines allow yourself to sit with yourself and your thoughts and feelings. I don't think that's a lot of what we're able to do with social media and phones and technology in your face all the time.
Well, we avoid it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what all that stuff is, to avoid how I'm feeling, how I'm thinking, what's going on. You know, I'm going through my life just stuffing the traumas down, stuffing it down, not going to talk about it, avoid it, pick up my phone, put on the TV, smoke a cigarette, take a drink. I mean, whatever it is, avoid, 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 avoid.
Mm-hmm.
Until
Can-
we're sick.
can you
until we
tell
have
that-
cancer.
Can you tell that Brian microdosed yesterday?
What?
Yeah.
I love this.
You know, I can tell you this though. It was an
I'm
amazing
awake.
experience. I had
You are waking up.
Yeah.
brother.
Ayahuasca showed me that on my last experience, and the whole journey. And this was about a year ago when we sat with maybe 6 months ago. The whole journey, all I kept seeing was my iPhone. All I kept seeing, everything. I would see a vision. Next thing I would do is my phone. It was the wildest thing, and really made me think.
Your relationship with your phone changed after that journey.
Yeah.
You know, I used to say to him, you guys, all the time, I'd be like, his phone drove me nuts. And this is what Mark and I do for a living. We have 5 online businesses. Everything we do is online. So we have to be on our phones and our computers and our tablets all the time. But there's still a point beyond. And I would always say to him, like, God, your phone is just your phone. And then he had a journey about his phone. Right?
I don't even bring my phone places. No. Yeah.
Distractions.
Yeah. So amazing.
Okay, Brian, I want to hear about your microdosing.
Oh wow! So I was kind of out of it yesterday, trying to do work at the same time. That did not work out well. But I didn't have enough time to sit with myself. I did it in the most improper way, but I felt like I just kind of needed some relief. You know, just feeling a little anxious, a little stressed, and it did its purpose for what I was intending it to do. It just chilled me out, let me feel kind of a little spacey. But this morning I feel a lot different. I mean, I feel ready. You know, I don't know if there's any way to explain that, but I feel ready to take on the world.
It's an awareness.
I love that. It is. It's an awareness. The benefits of microdosing psilocybin are just, I mean, I get out there every day and talk about mushrooms. I mean, I feel like I'm the mushroom woman. You know, this is all I ever talk about. It's tattooed on my arm. the benefits are so incredible, and microdosing is such a beautiful way to introduce yourself to this medicine. If you're nervous about it, or if it's been a long time since you've done it, and you're taking a sub-perceptual amount. How did you feel after you took it? Did you feel like you were having a psychedelic experience?
No, not at all. It was very mild, and I didn't feel like I was tripping or anything like that. But it was just, it offset my mood a little bit, to the point where I was like, okay, maybe I should just, sit with this a little bit and just not do anything. Just not try to work.
Isn't that okay?
What's that?
That's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
and one of the comments that we got here is said someone said, put that shit down for a minute, connect with humans.
Exactly.
Regarding the phone.
But
Oh, yes.
But we forgot
Yes.
that. That's
Connecting
That's
with
a-
humans. Yeah, we think that through technology we can connect with humans, but we do need that human energy.
of course
Well, look around when you go out to a
Look
restaurant.
around.
Mark and I do this all the time.
all the time.
You look around and look around and watch people in the restaurant, and you'll see. We watch whole families who will be on their phones, all 4 or 5 of them, on their separate phones, and not speak to each other one time through the whole meal.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Right?
It's a society of separation and individualism, and we're all there because we're all stuck because nobody's evolving, nobody's doing anything because we're all working for this vision that they have for us. And what vision is that? A vision of some kind of control of what, at the end of the day, I try to scratch my head. What do they want to control? I mean, they want to control us. But once we see out of that, and once we start bringing more and more and more people and more community here, we can really do some wonderful things.
Absolutely. My dad said to me over Christmas, I saw him, and he's very interested in what we do and fascinated by it. And he says, well, don't you get scared? Don't you get scared that, because you're doing something illegal? Well, first of all, 95% of everything we do is legal. I mean, we're very much in up and up businesses. The psilocybin, no, I don't get nervous. And this is what I said to him. That reality exists. We choose not to live in it. We choose not to live in it. I mean,
And I think if more people would, it's hard to understand that. I mean, we've
I know,
got
that
to
sounds
understand
crazy,
it.
but-
But it's really hard when you say we don't live in their world. And if more people wouldn't, we still have to pay our taxes. We still have to own to society. We still have to be community. We still have to, but we should all be able to enjoy our life on this earth with loving and compassion. Right?
and take care of our own mental health
Mental
the way that we
health.
see fit.
Because it's the most important thing. Without your mental health, everything else is broke down. It just doesn't, you can't fix it
Yeah,
if you don't fix that.
my thing is that they just try to treat everyone like the same person. Everyone is
Yeah.
so different, especially when it
Everything.
comes to our brains.
Our DNA is all different.
It's
Everybody's
not a one
DNA is
pill
different.
fits all. And here's the other thing, is we all show up at different places, whether we show up to the medicine or whether we show up to our doctor. We show up at different places in our trauma, in our healing, in what's happened to us. We are not a one size fits all society. It just doesn't work that way. And so for somebody to give the same pill to each person, it doesn't work.
It doesn't
Just
work.
doesn't
And,
work.
and for them to tell you that you can't heal alcoholism, you can't heal drug addiction. What else? What else do they tell us? So many things that we can't heal. I'm living proof.
So am I. These medicines can change your life. I had such a profound experience after my first ayahuasca experience that, and I say this every podcast, I'm literally living a different life. I've never been more present in my own life, or never been my most authentic self.
What was
Ever.
it? What was it like for you before this?
Fucking dark.
It wasn't as dark for me. I when I came to plant medicines the first time, I I had been sober for many years and been working a spiritual program for many years. So I was at a pretty good place, but I also felt like there has to be more, there has to be more. And then my mom committed suicide, and it affected my life so greatly that I knew I had to find deeper answers. I just knew it.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to me. Now for you, you showed up to plant medicines in a different place.
I was living in this world, you know, there was never a sense of happiness, ever. You know, alcohol was a demon. And it wasn't like I had so many things, but I didn't have myself. So that's what happens. That's what happens in the world of plant medicine. You know, you can really change your life.
It can. It really can. I mean, you have to do the work. It's not like you just go and have an Aya journey or take some psilocybin and then your life is changed. That's not it. There's a lot of work that's involved.
Well, because there's a lot of breakdowns. There's a lot of breakdowns of patterns. There's a lot of breakdowns. You know, this is all about your default mode system. Everybody has it. Everybody does it. We all wake up the same morning. We pick up the phone at the same fucking time. We go to make the coffee the same way. We go pee in the toilet. Everything is the same. Pay attention to your days.
Yeah,
And change them.
routine is
Pay
comforting.
attention to your life.
Routine is comforting. But once you change a routine, just interject something new in there.
Are you living
Things
the
change.
same life your parents lived? I mean, are you living your same life that your grandparents lived? I mean, are we living the same life? And if that makes you happy, that's okay. But deep down, does it? Does it? Are you just doing what you're expected to do? Or are you really living your most authentic life?
I mean, 2 generations ago, we didn't even have TV.
Yep.
I mean, television in and of itself is a whole other ball of wax as far as what it's done to society. But yeah, it's
And just think about this. Just think about what they know that we already don't know that they have. Okay? But if we were, if like I already know, but if others expanded on their mind and consciousness, we could create these things they're trying to create behind our back. So
And there
this
was
is all
a
a
real
game.
plan to all this.
We could really build different communities with what we're doing, you know, because plant medicine isn't for everybody, but getting out of your consciousness is for everybody. If you don't, you're going to stay here, and I don't want to stay here. Now, I don't mean that the 3D here. I like evolving. I like creating. I like learning. I like listening. I just like, you know, I used to not like to see people happy, but now I do.
yeah.
These medicines show us what's important. It really shows you what's important.
It's love.
And what's not.
It's all about love.
And then you start letting go of things that no longer serve you.
Oh, right.
And by peeling those things away, that's how you become your most authentic self, and that's how you start living your most authentic life.
Authentic life, setting boundaries, evolving, loving yourself.
And learning and understanding. I mean, it's a constant learning process. This is not a one and done. I mean, this is a lifelong learning
Why would you want it
process.
to be able to do?
Exactly. I
You know?
don't want it to
Don't
be.
you want to learn? Don't you want to keep knowing something?
I want to remain teachable the rest of my life.
Teachable. It's a good word. Yeah.
Well, do we have anybody that wants to jump on and say anything? This has been a really good talk.
Yeah, definitely. You know, we talk like this all, you know, that's what we need. More people, you know, hop on, get involved, or just listen, you know. At the beginning of this path, there wasn't really too much out there 4 or 5 years ago. Now it's everywhere. You know, if you don't at least explore this a little bit and keep a little bit of an open mind, you're missing out.
And listen, everybody's talking about this now. I mean, this is not, whispering in the back alleys, hey, where can I get some mushrooms?
Yeah.
This is not what this is about anymore. People are waking up and understanding that this is mental health. This is mental health. I took mushrooms when I was in high school and college, and we'd go see the Grateful Dead and go dance at parties and go to raves. This is not what this is about.
When they're making something so difficult for us to access
There's a reason.
you better ask yourself why.
That is so true.
And it usually always comes down to control and money.
Yep.
Those are the two
Always.
things that always is a burden in society.
'Cause
Have
it-
you all seen that meme out on Facebook? I've seen it on Facebook, and it's like an old black and white photo of a bunch of men standing at a old bar drinking beer and watching this old football game on TV. Right? It was like this black and white TV, and it said something like, "Yep, we've learned how to control them
Oh,
with
wow.
the alcohol and the television. It's
And the beer.
control."
Yep. We need to control ourselves, control our lives. You know, this is going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight. But the movement is, I see it every day, movement. And people are waking up,
People are definitely waking up.
the
People
lies-
that you wouldn't expect that come to us and
Never.
say, "Hey, what's this and what's that?"
I'm just not saying just about this medicine. People are waking up their consciousness. They're unsettled with this unsettled environment, and they want something different.
Yeah, and those people that want the change, this is a great way to be able to get there. I mean, not a lot of people want this. Not a lot of people want to.
Stay stuck.
Yeah, they want to stay stuck. They want to be
They do.
in that. They want to be that cog in the wheel, and that makes them feel
Mm-hmm.
good, and that's fine. But I think what you guys and we are just trying to say is that there is other ways to get unstuck and live life
are.
more fully.
More full.
And some people don't even understand how stuck they are. I mean, they think that, oh, I healed that wound, or that happened when I was a child. I had a conversation with one of your family members one time about his trauma from the war.
Yeah.
And he was saying to me, "Oh, it's fine. That was a long time ago. That doesn't bother me anymore." But he also cried.
Yeah.
So clearly it still bothers him. People think that their traumas are healed because they haven't been dealt with in a long time, or it happened when I was 4 and that doesn't da-da-da-da. It matters. You have to heal it. You have to heal it.
And I think everyone's trauma. Sorry, I think everyone's trauma is unique and important. I think being a firefighter and having that trauma is people will say like, well, I'm not a firefighter. I just had this bad relationship and it really traumatized me. But that if that's a big deal in your life, that's important. It doesn't matter person to person. If it's a big deal in your life and you can't go one day without thinking about it, without thinking about that trauma and maybe trying to mitigate that or mute that feeling.
My friend Gina Jake calls it big T and little t, big trauma and little trauma. And they're all just as important, right? So maybe when you were 4 years old or 5 years old, somebody embarrassed you, called you a name, and then you were, that could be traumatizing. But what happens from that is a lifelong of behaviors that stemmed from that. So maybe it happens when you were 5 years old, but the patterns of behavior and lifelong behavior that stemmed from that continue. It always boils down to childhood trauma.
And you said
Every single thing boils down to
everything.
childhood trauma.
Everything. And Brian said something earlier about like some people are just going to stay stuck where they are. But so if you're out here listening to this, navigating to that, trying to search different things, you're that person that wants a different. If you're not even going to be here. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're not even going to enter into
This space.
This realm.
This realm. You're not even going to understand it. You're going to first think, they're talking about drugs. First thing that's going to come to their mind. But others, they're looking. Those are the ones that we need to move this movement.
Jump on. Or here's what a lot of people who come to us say. Well, I had a psychedelic experience, 30 years ago when I was in high school. But something happened and it stuck with
Oh,
me.
yeah, for sure. Why would they say that?
Exactly. So people know. It's just, you have to be brave enough to come forward. Because it's not easy doing these medicines. There's nothing easy about going and doing an ayahuasca journey.
There's nothing easy about breath work. There's nothing easy about meditation. These are all things that aren't easy, and those don't involve any kind of psychedelics, but they'll get you out of your consciousness. So
Absolutely.
we're not here just talking about psychedelics, plant medicines. We believe it's a catalyst, for sure. But our biggest focus is get out of your consciousness. Get out of the programming. Get out of what you've been taught and move out.
Because what happens is you gain a different perspective, right? Your perspective is different. So your life is still the same. The circumstances of your life are still the same unless you drastically change them like I did.
You know what's interesting is when, even though we're all different, right? The thing that I've noticed is everyone has a very, very similar experience when they do psilocybin, or the heroic doses of iboga or ayahuasca. They all come back with that similar enlightenment.
Yep.
Is there like another plane of existence that exists? What do you think about that?
I don't know if there's something. Here's how I used to say in the beginning, because I used to see things, and everybody sees things in their journeys. So to be able to see something like this pen, you have to see it, right? You have to know what it is, to put it in your mind, to understand it's a pen. So when you're on Simon's psychedelic journeys, you see entities, dimensions, like things that you had to see before, because if you didn't see them before, they make no sense to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I believe there's something. I don't know what, but this universe is too massive for there not to be nothing else.
If this was
Well,
all
it
there
taps-
is, this is a big disappointment.
Of course, because you could you can live your life on Earth as a Dr. Seuss book with one chapter, or a Stephen King book with 40 chapters. I'd rather be a Stephen King. Make sense? I mean, we got to keep writing chapters. If we don't, we're going to be a Dr. Seuss. One book, one chapter. That's how I see it.
I don't know what happens. I know when we see the psychedelic stories, or we just talk to people. I mean, Mark and I talk to people all day, every day. And you're right, Brian. There is the same pattern or theme, or people talk the same. And I don't even know what that is, but it's like it just wakes something up inside of you. I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Well, because a lot of people, right? They say that they felt like they felt like they were dying and then came back to life, I believe, or I'm not sure what that exact phrasing is, but
It's an ego death.
like ego death.
yeah. How
But
is
that can happen on almost every journey, because as we go on in our path, our ego creates safety measures. Okay, so say if 5th grade you were bullied, now you have this like fight or flight kind of programming. Now you were molested when you were 8, you have this fearful of every man or whatever program. So
I mean, you could say the same for animals. I mean, that's a
Of
simpler
course.
version of, I think,
course.
humans. If you harm a dog, that dog's going to remember that person and say, fuck that guy, and try to attack him or be really scared. That's a fight or flight. It's a definite living, animalistic, tribal kind of way of thinking, and it's right to our core as living creatures.
I heard somebody say the other day that they believe that there are extraterrestrials that are sort of watching us and babysitting and watching us wake up and are sort of watching. I forget how she said it, but it's very interesting. And I said, well, do you think that's why we see the entities? When you go into a journey, you see entities. Just, I don't know, maybe.
I think
I don't know.
if it makes sense
'Cause I
to
just-
her, that makes sense.
yeah, it just
And then you hear people who have near-death experiences are very similar to an ayahuasca experience.
they're very similar to deep psychedelic journeys. You know, it's all about killing that ego. You got to kill those. I mean, I can't see. I have to rephrase that.
Yeah.
Becoming a friend of your ego, like amigo to your ego, because you've kind of separated him for so long, and you worked against him, but now you got to be an amigo with your ego.
The way I understand it is that your
fucking
ego
like that.
has my ego has been there to protect me my whole life, right?
Yeah.
So from all of these things.
Is that our new T-shirt, Mark? Amigo to your
I
ego.
like
Amigo
that.
to your ego.
I like that.
And so you want to become friends with your ego. I don't like the term ego death. I don't want to kill my ego.
Yeah, because I think these medicines just want to bring us back to us because we forgot who we were. So
It makes
we don't want to
sense.
forget all that.
Makes sense.
Did you have an ego death? Do you remember? Because people very vividly remember ego deaths.
Of course, so many.
I watched yours.
Well, so many because I let it happen. That's one thing about these medicines.
Wait, what do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
Fight these journeys. You can really fight them. You can battle them. You can whatever you want to do. I ain't gonna
Like resistance?
Resistance.
Yeah.
But if you go into these journeys knowing you're going to be fine,
Yeah.
man,
It's like a
You
roller
can really
coaster.
let go.
yeah.
It's very scary, though. I mean, it's human nature to hold on and fight. I mean, the first time I did Buvo, I fought it. I was just too scared. The second time, I said, nope, we'll just go.
I just think that's why it's important because we have to, wherever you go to do these medicines, make sure you're with a safe environment, safe people, and you'll have a great journey. I mean, just because nobody's ever, I can't say ayahuasca, but psilocybin, some of these bigger medicine,
It's not the medicine itself that kills you. It's the other things.
it's the other things.
Yeah, one
I feel
person,
like
one of the
lying
comments
about
says,
medications.
yeah, exactly. One of the comments says, yes, you can resist these medicines. Once you go there, you require integration with big medicine. Safety first.
You know what?
Absolutely.
That makes so much sense. That's because I always too. There's a process to these medicines. I mean, I think psilocybin's a great starting point. It really is, but a lot of people have really deeper traumas where you have to dive into an ayahuasca journey, maybe several. But you got to heal your traumas. If you don't heal, you're gonna keep reliving them
And hurting other people in the process.
and hurting. Yeah,
And I've heard people say, well, I don't have any traumas.
yeah.
I've had a great life.
Well, you
Nothing
can,
bad's ever happened to me.
you can always tell
That's not
people
true.
that have the trauma because hurt people hurt people.
Of course.
I love that
Yeah,
expression, Brian.
yeah.
I love that
people,
expression.
hurt people.
Hurt people, hurt
Yeah.
people, and heal people, heal people.
It's the way it works. It really is.
I don't want to.
Because
I don't want to cheese this stream up with clapping, but I'd give you clapping right now.
That's true. Let's hear it.
Let's do that shit. Like clapping.
Where is it? Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So, this is what we're going to be doing on these Mondays. We're going to be just live conversations, open for us all.
That's right. We'd love for you guys to hop on and talk to us. We're going to try a couple different times, but then we'll settle on one. And we're going to do this once a week. And it's really just a time to talk. It's very
Don't be
casual.
afraid. Yeah, don't be afraid of it. We don't have to show your face. Just hop on a little text.
Yeah, you can hop on by text. You can hop on just by audio, not video, if you want.
Mm-hmm.
Thought we had somebody. All right. Well, let's find us on YouTube. Okay.
Definitely.
Medicine with the Metals. We have got so many viewers. It's unbelievable. But we need subscribers. Please
And
hit subscribe.
we have so many clips too. People can look through and medicine with the metals. Then we have plant medicine path.
Plant Medicine Path, our geo directory. You guys, this is amazing. And we always talk about Mama Dose, but we do so many other things in this space. We've got
I think
our
the plant medicine
geo-directory.
path is really going to be the community builder. Everything there,
Say that again.
plant medicine path is going to be a big community. And then we also have the Facebook group. There's about 12,000 of them.
Right. Then we have our Church of the Sacred Plants. So we are a church. We are a 508c1a. Psilocybin is our sacrament. We do have facilitators all around the country.
I don't
If
even know
you're
what that
looking-
is, but the government told us we had to do it.
What's that?
The government told us we had to be a 508.
Yeah, the government told us we had to be a 508, so we became a 508.
And then you're a 508 too, once you join our community. Whatever that is, we'll make it happy for you.
All right, this has been fun. I love getting on here and talking.
I do too. Well, have a good Monday, guys.
Have an amazing Monday.
Amazing. We'll be back next Monday.
Next Monday. Thanks, y'all.
Ciao.